In this video, we're going to talk about generators in Cinema 4D. So I will show you here different types of generators that you can use to do many different things. You can work with 2D shapes with generators. You can also work with 3D objects, and you can work by generating other generators. So you can work in combination with one more generator. So let's get started. And let's open up the toolbar first. So go to Create Generators, click here, and you can undock the toolbar. Okay, now let's start with the first one here, which is Subdivision Surface. And this is gonna let you create. Now I need to make some room here, so I'm going to move this stuff aside, which was created using generator, by the way. So I will show you how to do all of this in the video. So I want to move everything aside because when you work here in Cinema 4D, well, it's better to work in the near the origin, or well, actually, it's better to work in the origin itself because it's gonna be more easy. And so let's start. I'm going to bring in a simple mesh primitive cube. Okay, now the cube is something that it's really straight. It has really sharp corners, and it will always appear like this unless I insert some fillets, which we saw previously. But also I can use subdivision surface. Now we're going to use this later on also in polygon modeling, but I want to show you this right away because it's part of generator. So I'm gonna click, well, first create the generator and then click and drag inside. And now my cube here has become a sphere. Now all the generators work essentially in the same way. So you create the generator and you insert the shape or the 3D solid or multiple solids or shapes that you want to use with the generator. For example, we already saw the spline mask in previous video, and we also saw the extrude, lathe, and loft and sweep modifier. So we already know how they work. So essentially they are modifying the original solid, which was the cube or the original element. Now, this has become a sphere. Why? Because when you use subdivision surface, it's gonna subdivide. Now let's uncheck this just for a minute. It's gonna subdivide and it's gonna smooth all the corners. So when you in the structure of your model, you don't have any other segments, it's gonna smooth all these side here and this side right here. So it's gonna arrive in the midpoint. Now, if I increase the number of segments or subdivisions, so if I go here in the in this different view, I'm gonna increase the segments and I'm gonna smooth again. You can see now the smooth is less aggressive than before because the object is protected by the segments, essentially. So again, I'm gonna increase to 4 segments and check that again. And you can see now it's becoming more and more like a fillet box and not a sphere. Now, if I change the subdivision in other direction except one, you're gonna have like a cylinder. So it depends strictly on how you subdivide your object. Now we're going to come back to this tool later on in polygonal modeling. Now I want to show you the Boolean. Now Boolean is similar to the spline mask, but instead of using 2D shapes, we are using 3D shapes. So let's create a Boolean object, which is going to be empty. And again, make sure that you work near the origin. Otherwise, it will be a little bit more difficult. Now you can see here, I have created some holes in these extrusions that I have created in using the standard extrude command that we saw in the previous video. Now, how can you do that? How can you create like custom holes here to place doors and so on? Well, you just need to create here another object, which is going to be the object that's going to create the hole inside another object. So let's create, for example, a cone, and I want to invert the position here. Okay. Now let's just move this a little bit outside, and I'm going to use this one here, which is already a generator object inside Boolean. And then I will use the cone as a second solid. And you're gonna create, you can see there, a hole inside the first object. You can also modify, just like the spline mask, you can modify the original tool that you've used, and it's gonna modify the subtraction here. So it's pretty cool, it's pretty handy. You can go all the way through here. Now you can also increase the segments there if you want more quality inside, and also the segments on the rotation to have a nice curvy hole. And also you can use, well, with the Boolean here, you can change and do intersect. This is the only part in common between the two. Or you have the union, or you have the A without B, and well, you can switch here the position. So if I place this right here, it's gonna be the opposite basically. Now I want to show you how to create a door. Now if you worked in scale, it's pretty easy, because all you need to do is create, for example, a cube, and you're gonna scale it with the correct measures. So I'm gonna say that it's gonna be 2020 centimeters. Well, it's gonna be like 80 large and 220 centimeters high, and well, doesn't matter the depth here, but let's say 300. Okay, and you need to place this inside the position where you want to create your door. Now if you use also the other views, it will be easier, because you can see actually, maybe you have like drawings, 2D drawings, you can place that in the correct position. Now make sure that it's in the correct spot and that it goes all the way through like that. Okay, and based on my drawing, I think that the door is approximately right here. Maybe it's a little bit larger, but well, this is just an example. So you can do, what you can do here is to select the first one, which is going to be some extrusion somewhere. I need to find it. There it is. So I want to take this outside all the way up. Okay. And now I want to create a Boolean, and I want to subtract from this one here the cube. So I'm gonna click and drag and place it just above, sorry, below the first group there. And you can see I am creating a hole. Now I can copy this and